About a year ago, I stood here to introduce a video bringing you for a walk around of our off-grid power system. But real off-grid living isn't just about your electrical supply. You've also got your water, your food, preservation, your heating in wintertime, and sewage issues to deal with. So we're going to go for another walk around and I'll show you how to solve all of those issues. And as well as that, you'll get to see what real, modern off-grid living actually looks like. Oh, and spoiler alert, doesn't involve composting toilets or pooping in buckets. So come on, let's go. The methods that we use here on the homestead can be set up by anyone, anywhere, no matter how much land you've got or what property you're on. Some of them will take you a little while to set up and others you can implement straight away. So we're going to start off with the basics of food and water, then we'll move on to preservation, heating and sewage, and then finally we'll cover the electrical side of things. Now, if you've ever stayed on a property in rural Ireland, you might have seen one of these. This is the well where water is pumped up from a deep underground aquifer through a single stage filtration and on into the house where it runs through a second stage filtration, ensuring that we always have clean, drinkable water. Now, if you're starting from scratch and had to go drilling a well, it would cost quite a bit, but if you can find a property that already has one on it, you're off to a great start. While Clodagh and I do love spending time in the garden, there's a big difference between hobby gardening and trying to grow a year's worth of food. The main one being that you're going to grow a lot less variety, but in much larger quantities. You can do this through a combination of open beds like this one, raised beds and polytunnels like we have down below. But when you take in all of those harvests, you're going to need a way to preserve them and store them over winter until the next year. Water bath and pressure canning are probably the two most popular methods to preserve your harvests for long-term storage, as they're shelf stable for up to 2 years without refrigeration. However, due to the fact that you have to keep the water on a rolling boil throughout the canning process, we've found that it's not very energy efficient. While we do use those two methods, we prefer to use this, which is a big old box freezer, where we vacuum pack and indefinitely freeze the harvests, like string beans, onions, strawberries, even some Brussels sprouts. When it comes to meat and protein, chickens and rabbits are the easiest, lowest input sources you're going to find for those, with rabbits having a slightly better meat to bone ratio than the chickens have, but with the chickens you get fresh eggs every day. Now, you can either breed your own or you can buy them in. We found it more efficient to buy them in because when you breed your own, you're going to need an incubator or a broody hen, and almost every time you'll get a 50-50 ratio of hens to roosters. You're then going to have to waste a load of money on feed to fatten up those roosters until they're butchering age. And unless you're breeding broiler chickens, you're not going to get as much meat on those roosters as what you'd be used to seeing on the supermarket shelf. But moving on to energy efficiency and heating, the kerosene boiler that you see behind me there came with the house back when we bought it. These are by far the worst, least energy efficient way to heat your home. The most energy efficient way you're going to find to heat your home is with one of these, which is a fireplace with a back boiler on it. As you're burning your firewood, which is always cheaper than kerosene, it heats up some pipes that are off at the back, which then circulates up through the system, like this over here. You've got a pipe in and a pipe out, and a thermostat here that triggers the circulation pump. That circulation pump uses only 100 watts of energy, or 0.1 kilowatt hours, when it's constantly running, which is more efficient than any of the heat pumps or any of the modern systems that ever came since. As well as travelling through the radiators to heat the house, the hot water also goes here to the hot water tank, which does have an immersion element on it down there, but it's quite heavy on juice, and if we can use the fire instead, we try to do that. But we can heat the home and have a big tank like this full of hot water for just 0.1 kilowatt hours of energy use. So we're going to move on to the next subject now, and excuse the mess in here, by the way, we're a busy family for it's not a museum. So next up I'm going to share with you how we take care of sewage and how we turn it into fertiliser. Now, I bet when I said that you imagine there's a complicated process involved somewhere. There's not. It's just one of these, which is another common sight on many country homes, a good old-fashioned septic tank. Now, the sludge inside in the septic tank is rich in nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, ammonium and sodium. The tank fills up over 3 to 4 years and can be emptied by any number of local farmers. They'll take that and add it to their own slurry tank, where after 100 days it's broken down and all the potential pathogens are killed off, and it's then safe to spread on the fields as fertiliser. Once it's spread on the fields, UV light and moving air will then kill off any residual harmful bacteria, and after a period of time, the freshly fertilised field is safe for livestock to graze on once again. The alternative to that is to call in a company to empty the tank, where they'll take it off to their base and pump it back into the main sewage system. And here in Ireland, sewage is dumped into the ocean. Most of the time it's raw, and the treatment plants will release a statement almost every year saying they've had an overflow. And if you look on the maps, you'll be able to see the overflow running out down along the beaches, down past Wexford, where people love to go for a swim on their holidays. So for us, having it turned into fertiliser is much more environmentally friendly. So as you can see, real modern off-grid living here in Ireland is something that anybody can do. It's just a combination of the tried and tested old-fashioned methods mixed in with a bit of modern technology and a lot of environmental awareness, real environmental awareness. And with most people nowadays providing their own energy from solar panels and various different systems they've got operating, the last place we're stopping in here today is our own off-grid power system. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you'll be very familiar with this room. This is the power station that runs our house 24/7, day and night, all year round. We run a 48 volt all-in-one 11 kilowatt inverter, which is powerful enough to run all the loads in the house at the same time. It takes power in from 2 solar arrays, adding up to about 5.5 kilowatts, and uses that to charge up 20 kilowatts of the latest lithium-ion batteries that have built-in fire suppression in case of any damage, and built-in thermal heat pads for when it gets cold. It can keep the batteries at the correct operating temperature. The 11 kilowatt inverter is backed up by our old system, which is the 3 kilowatt 24 volt inverter. It's not connected to any solar panels, but it is connected to an old-fashioned 4 kilowatt lead acid battery bank. That battery bank is charged up by the Breeze wind turbine, as it's also 24 volt. And the 3 kilowatt inverter is AC coupled into the 11 kilowatt big inverter. So if we ever lose power in the batteries and don't have enough solar, we can kick in the backup system and it can take power from those batteries, but it can also take power from the petrol generator. If I take that and plug it in there, that generator then can be linked in to power the entire system, recharging batteries and running loads at the same time. And in worst case scenarios, if we've no power, no sun, no wind and no fuel, we can also plug it into the lithium battery in the All Powers as an absolute doomsday backup system. All of that is then monitored over on the laptop here through the basic Watch Power app. So how all that connects into the house runs through the wires here, and bear in mind I still have to get conduit. It's an unfinished system as of yet, but it goes up into that big 63 amp socket up there and runs across through the attic. Back before, we used to have a separate system wired up, which was through those old socket boxes on the wall there. I've just left one there just purely for display purposes. Hey hon.
Hi.
It comes in and goes down out of the attic into the changeover switch right there. So you can switch between generator and the mains, but when you're switched over to generator, that isolates the property from the mains, meaning that the network, the grid, is safe for technicians to work on in the event of a grid down scenario. It then goes from the changeover switch on into the fuse board and runs the whole house. So that's how it all works. What do you think of living off grid, Chloe?
It's no different really, isn't it?
Just don't have 10 bills coming in at the end of every month.
No.
That's it. Just normal life.
Normal life as I clean.
Sorry, Claudia's on a cleaning buzz at the moment. Let's just leave her alone, get out of her way. So there you go. That is everything you need to know about living off-grid and how we live off-grid here in Ireland. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope you found it useful. Don't forget to tune in next time where I'm going to unlock that wind turbine controller to get more power out of it. But until then, guys, thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the video and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.